You have held an intention before anyone else that I knew to really bring Robert Kennedy Jr. and President Trump together.
Knowing Bobby for as long as I've known Bobby, and of course, Donald I met when I was 20 years old. So we were having a lot of conversations about health throughout our relationship, and of course, about safe vaccines. So that was a big issue in my heart then. And of course, getting to know Bobby better and how he stood for clean environments, clean water, and then safe vaccines,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Giving people the right to really know what they're putting in their body, never forcing a human being to take something they don't know about. It was just a dream in my heart for so many years when Donald was brought into being a part of the race the first time in 2015. And I just had this vision of the two of them getting together. So my hope was then they would be able to come together and Bobby would be able to help to secure health for our children. And when you really pray about something, you hold an intention that is so great, then the universe really opens up. I believe the universe opens up. So yes, this was something that I was actively pursuing, was getting the two of them together, and was very happy when that meeting took place.
Marla Maples, what an honor it is to have you on the MAHA podcast.
Right at home here with you, Dale.
I know, we're just sitting here and, I met you, I think, right around the last election. And then we've sort of stayed in touch. We have so many, mutual friends. But in many ways, I was just saying, before we started this, you're like a catalyst almost in this MAHA space, because you were the first one that started sort of representing to me that Donald Trump is not who they're portraying him out to be. He's actually a beautiful guy. He's loving. He's, he cares about kids. He cares about health. And I know I want to talk to you also about the great work that you're doing, but let's start there because, MAHA is this incredible evolution. You had MAGA, and then Bobby Kennedy joins forces with President Trump, which is sort of like a dream. I feel like it's like a dream you were presenting before it happened. So let's start there. Where was that dream for you? Like, did you start thinking that would ever even be possible?
Oh, I had it in my heart for so many years, knowing Bobby for as long as I've known Bobby, and of course, Donald I met when I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
So we'd had such a long journey together, and of course there's a big age difference, and so what he had maybe learned was a bit different than what I'd learned.
Mm-hmm.
So we were having a lot of conversations about health throughout our relationship, and of course about safe vaccines and such. So that was a big issue in my heart then, and of course getting to know Bobby better and how he stood for clean environments, clean water, and then safe vaccines.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Giving people the right to really know what they're putting in their body, never forcing a human being to take something they don't know about.
Yeah.
And it was just a dream in my heart for so many years when Donald was brought into being a part of the race the first time in 2015. And I just had this vision of the two of them getting together. So my hope was then they would be able to come together and Bobby would be able to help to secure health for our children.
So early on, that first, when Trump first won, President Trump, he called Bobby up into Trump Towers. It was sort of a famous moment, discussed the potential for a vaccine safety commission. Where did that come from? Was that coming from sort of the conversations that you'd had? You share a daughter
Of course.
with President Trump. So was that why? Because we're all like, what does Donald Trump know about Robert Kennedy Jr. and why would he call him into the room? How did he know about Bobby?
Hey, listen, there were a lot of people nudging. I was just someone close that was nudging, right? And when you really pray about something, you hold an intention that is so great, then the universe really opens up. I believe the universe opens up. So yes, this was something that I was actively pursuing, was getting the two of them together, and was very happy when that meeting took place. It didn't go the way we hoped it would go. As we know, there were some players in place that did not have the best intentions, I don't think, for America. And all I can say is we are here now.
Yeah.
And I think everybody in our movement has chills on their chills because this has been a vision not just for me, but for hundreds of thousands of people who love and supported Bobby, but also love and support Donald. And the dream was to be able to have them together as a powerful force for good. And it's here now. And
Yeah.
I think none of us can deny what we felt when Donald introduced Bobby on that stage. And Donald was he was able to see and feel how truly love Bobby is. And there was a humility that I felt coming from two very strong men. And that was like opening up universes of love, I felt.
And in that moment, let's just stay focused on that moment because it was one of the most spectacular things I've ever experienced. People don't, I was director of communications for Bobby, as you know. And, watching the Democrats and mainstream media just sling mud and awful slander upon Bobby everywhere he went. He should have been a darling. He's an environmentalist. He's a Kennedy. What is going on here? And really then moved independent and just tried to like coalesce, had millions of people around the nation, but still it was like, when we walked in that stadium and it's all, Trump fans and we were saying to each other, how do you think Bobby's going to be received here? Like, we don't really know. And then, as soon as as President Trump mentions Bobby's name, Robert Kennedy Jr., I mean, the place went crazy. I mean, we all had tears in our eyes. Like, who knew that, MAGA and the Republican Party was our people? I mean, it was really an outrageous moment. But watching how President Trump gave stage to Bobby, and it was something that, I'm a director. I've studied people. I've interviewed so many people. I was really watching because we hear about like the ego of President Trump, and and he was just so gracious, and the cheers just kept minutes and minutes of cheering and thunder and stomping and Bobby, Bobby, and I was watching specifically Donald Trump and thinking a real egomaniac would start to find this, as a threat.
Right.
Like, wait a minute, I don't want this guy having more attention I'm getting. And instead, it was like watching a father and his son just scored a goal on a soccer field, just like loving every moment of it. And I'll tell you, in that moment, I thought about you and I said, Marla's right. This guy is not who I think we thought. So explain that a little bit. Like, what is his dynamic like? He obviously had his children love him, his family loves him, his even ex-wives love him. How?
Well, I get tears in my eyes still, experiencing that moment over and again because there are so many of us that were supporting Donald that love Bobby, and our hearts were a bit torn, And so the dream was always, can they come together? I mean, I told you back 2015, 2016, that was my hope, is that together we would all be stronger. And the humility in Donald at that moment. He has to be strong and brash to get things done. That's a part of his character. He's a leader, and as I've heard some people describe, he's a king of a kingdom. He didn't intend to be a politician, but he cares for his kingdom, as I know Bobby does, right? So we care about humanity. We care about the people, and he cares about the people. He would not be sacrificing his life, his family, the risks that have been, he's put himself and all the family under. Same with Bobby. So there's a bridge between them in that way, where they can understand each other, a similar life purpose, and a similar life challenge that they've both gone through. So with Donald, I will always just he's the father of my child. I've known him since I was 20 years old. So yes, we've gone through ups and downs, and not always good, but always coming back around to seeing the heart of who we are. And I think it's really important to get to the heart. Forget the outside and go back into the heart. And I'm a firm believer that we want to make peace with everyone in our life. And I choose that. If I see someone that may have a negative feeling, or maybe I hold something towards, I want to immediately go to that person and work on it. I think that creates a ripple effect into the universe. And Donald he cares so much about this country. He cares so much about his kids. And one of the toughest things was knowing what the children and the grandchildren would go through with him being in this position. But everyone just like put on their armor and was ready to stand there with their dad and support him, because they know it's bigger than him. It's really about all of us. And that's where the media missed it. He's not doing this to have some sort of odd control. It's about protecting our rights. And you see when Bobby's there going through what he's gone through during the hearings, what Tulsi's going through in the hearings,
Yeah.
Kash Patel's going through in the hearings. I mean, you understand what we've all been up against.
Yeah.
But I like to say what our friends are saying, we're winning.
Yeah. You talk about family. I know the moment that they, first of all along the way, I'll be honest, I wanted to have Bobby really, hit at Trump, just because it would have helped pull more Democrats where I'm strategizing. And behind the scenes, Bobby was like, you know what? Um, Donald's under the same attack I am, and I'm not going to jump on that. I mean, he promised to be, civil with everyone on all sides. It was Bobby wanted to run a campaign, but he had real respect all the way along, like just really didn't want to tangle because he just thought, I want to respect my opponents. And there's a lot that Donald Trump and I share. But that moment, you talk about family, when the assassination attempt happened with President Trump, Bobby said to us on the team, I need to talk to him. And his concern, I think he knew Bobby's spirit, knew Trump's spirit, but it was the family. He's like, I know what it's like to grow up as a kid with the stress of that level of danger. Lost his uncle, of course. Robert Kennedy Jr. lost his uncle, lost his own father. And so when he made that call, that was really, I think, where his focus. How is your family?
I know.
And so how did he hold? Because, they're warriors. They're rushing into war. How does he ease that? What's his process in easing what would have to be concern after that? Like, Dad, Grandpa, what are you doing? Why do this? How did he handle that with the family?
Well, I just have to go back to what you're saying. I'd been gifted a cruise to Alaska by a dear friend, and I was in Alaska when the assassination attempt happened. And the second person that called me was Bobby. And he says, I've got to get a message through to Donald.
Oh, wow.
And I said, I don't even know how you're getting a call through to me now. But we did it. And my daughter, of course, was the first. I knew something. Just from a text I received from her, I'm like, something really bad has happened. And I can't even relive that moment. It's one of the most painful moments of life, was that phone call from my child, but about her father. But Bobby just was, his heart was so kind to reach out to me, because he was like, I'm sure he reached out to others, but I said, no, he goes, write something down, I'll get it to him ASAP. And if I don't get it to him, Tiffany will get it to him. And he had such a deep understanding, and I felt like he could feel the pain. And I think the next day they were together.
Yeah. Those
So-
physically, it was everyone was traveling to see that moment happen. And of course, as they say, the rest is history. I think it's going to go down in history as one of the great alignments, and not just Robert Kennedy Jr. You mentioned Tulsi Gabbard, just these, even Elon Musk being in there, but and J.D. Vance, and just sort of President Trump has put together the team of rivals, something we hadn't seen since Abraham Lincoln, and I think something that everyone was surprised by.
But that's because they were listening to the media more than they were really getting a true picture of what was going on. I knew that this movement was about bringing people together.
Yeah.
And it was tricky because I have a lot of friends liberal. I was a Democrat. Donald had been Democrat. We both had, we both been on both sides. So
Yeah.
so I was always been about this bringing people together, and I was afraid to express my truth for a long time. And then I realized, we must, because everything is being, manipulated in the media. So I think at the moment Bobby and Donald stood together, it's like, you can't deny that. You're seeing it with your own eyes. And what Bobby gone through as a little boy, that kept him strong, kept him fighting for what's right. And what Donald is just like guided with every bit of passion within his heart to save this country since he was young, since before we met. He knew that he felt there was a time when he may have to step in. And now to have the two of them that have had these separate lives come together with these shared experiences, it's so beautiful. And Donald can't walk in fear. None of us can walk in fear.
No.
Right?
Yeah. How much, you're around Donald more than I am, certainly. He seems to really be into making America healthy again, into this MAHA movement. I mean, and I keep looking, is he faking it? But he just seems excited about talking about chronic illness. He's obviously stood with Bobby here. Is that sincere? Is this something that
Listen,
you think matters to
he
him?
loves his kids, he loves his grandkids, he cares about the future of this country, so yes, I am so grateful because I've tried for years to pull away the Diet Coke, no McDonald's, and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have to do a thing now, it's Bobby's got this covered." And I can
Right.
only imagine what Melania's been doing throughout the years to help him too. So we are just, like, really, like, for me, it's like, "Oh, I can just take a break now."
Yeah.
So, I mean, he has the things that he's been doing for his whole life, and he is a bit habitual in choices. He doesn't like to change his luck, you
Yeah.
know?
I get that.
So I
He's got
think
pretty good
that's
luck.
exactly, exactly. So I think it'll be bit by bit for himself and his choices, but full in for kids. And he has learned so much from Bobby. He's learned so much from this movement. And, as a former wife, you can only say so much. So that's where I just feel so blessed that he's listening. He's listening to Bobby. He's listening to the movement, and he cares so much for this country and every person. Goes way beyond any boundaries that could be set in politics.
Well, while Robert Kennedy Jr. is, bringing MAHA inside of the government, working with President Trump there, we, of course, are, trying to take this opportunity with MAHA out, with the public. I think it's so important to keep this movement growing, to have this excitement to all these MAHA moms that are out there. You're working with your own organizations. Tell me a little bit about your
Yes.
contribution in the future
Oh
to
my gosh. I mean,
this MAHA movement.
I've cared so much about mind, body, and spirit health all of my life. It's been a center of my heart, and I would watch and see how I would react to certain environments or certain foods, and what made me feel good. Just being conscious of my choices, and then you learn, you grow, and you expand. You meet people that are on the cutting edge of helping people understand the human body, the biome, what's happening in our air and our water. So to see you all come together for this Make America Healthy Again is just it gives people a place to go.
Yeah.
And what we've created, myself with Sarah G and Dr. Ed Group of Global Healing, we each had this vision at the same time. We were on a call about something, and we started talking about our vision, and we said, let's support. We want to have the next level of supporting the initiatives that are going to be placed forth to help clean up our country,
Hmm.
and we're calling it the Global Wellness Forum. So
Right.
we're going to be right here with you, just helping support any way that we can, and doing some grassroots work and state by state, helping people learn through the media what's really happening, push that message out there while getting legislation done, God willing.
Yeah.
Bringing in together, the folks state by state who were willing to fight against fluoride in the water. Look deeper into what's happening with geoengineering and
Yeah.
cloud seeding, and see the pros and the negatives of what's going on with that.
Yeah.
So it's just about creating awareness in the hearts of people to see and to question and go to their local congressmen and legislators and have a voice on that, because our lives depend on it.
Yeah.
It's a very intense time in our world. We need this now. There's no more waiting.
The only concern I have really at this moment is that when you have powerful people like President Trump, like Robert Kennedy Jr., Dr. Oz, all these,
Yes.
stepping in there, there's a tendency for people to say, all right, our job is done.
Yeah.
They've got this from here. What do you think we have to think of is our role as first of all, as Americans, but you're going to be a global organization. How do we, how do we bring MAHA to the world, and what is our responsibility here right now?
Well, I think putting our heads together is the first start. We
Yeah.
see what's really working, and I think it's up to each person to be active in their own communities. And often, we expect others to kind of take care of things. And I think we've seen that we have to be the bosses of our own health, right?
Yeah.
We have to choose what we put on the plates of our children, our grandchildren. And I think with this community outreach that we can do on a community, county, state level, then we
Yeah.
can make a difference, and it will glow. As you know, Bobby Maha has such a global
Yeah.
love. You saw him touring all around, the world
Yeah.
before, helping people, really see what was happening. And that's what we all have to just do more of it, and come on in and, learn about MAHA, learn about Global Wellness Forum, and we would love to have you come volunteer with us. help fund what we're
Yeah,
planning on doing, because we've got to get a lot of people to work to make this happen. And now I think there's no time like the present.
I agree. Well, look, we're here to support you in every way we can. I think the world's watching MAHA. We want to take that attention, put it on great organizations like yours. And it's just, I just feel so blessed to have known you. I think in so many ways, we talk about what one person can do. You have held an intention before anyone else that I knew to really bring Robert Kennedy Jr. and President Trump together. In some ways, I feel like you may be the one that, planted that seed.
It takes a whole group of people with the same consciousness. I just had a nice window, right? I just had the blessing of knowing both of them, and seeing where their passions were and where their hearts were. So I'm just very blessed and grateful to everyone that was a part of this. Yeah.
Well, good on you. Thank you. And thank you for taking the time to join us today on the MAHA
Absolutely.
podcast.
Thank you.